Writing a thesis? Yeah, just hearing that phrase can be a little intimidating, right? But what if you had a clear, simple blueprint to follow? Well, that's exactly what we're going to build together in this explainer.
So if you're looking at a blank page right now and just feeling totally overwhelmed, you're not alone. And you are definitely in the right place. A thesis is a huge project, for sure, but it is not impossible. We're going to break it all down into a clear, actionable roadmap that'll take you from that first spark of an idea to the final, polished draft.
Okay, so first things first. Before we can even start writing a thesis, we really need to agree on what it is. What's its purpose and why is it such a big deal in your academic journey? A good way to think about a thesis is this. It is not just a summary of what other people have already said. It's that unique spot where your original knowledge and your ideas meet the existing research in your field. You are adding something totally new to the conversation. At its very heart, it's a document that puts forward an original point of view, and it's all backed up by your very own research.
So why even bother with all this? What's the point? Well, a thesis is pretty much the ultimate academic showcase. It proves you've got the core skills of a real scholar. You can pick a topic, design a study, analyze the evidence, and then interpret what it all means. It's way more than a requirement. It's basically your debut as an independent researcher.
Look, a project this huge can feel completely out of control. The key to managing it is to break it down. So instead of thinking about this single, intimidating book, I want you to think of your thesis as a simple, three-part blueprint. This structure is going to be your guide through the whole thing.
And here it is, that blueprint we were just talking about. Every single part of your thesis is going to fall into one of these three major sections. You've got the front matter, which sets the stage, the main text, which is the absolute core of your research, and the back matter, which gives you all your references and supporting materials.
That's it. Just remember these three fundamental building blocks. Framing it this way makes the whole process feel so much less scary. Now let's go ahead and tackle them one by one, starting with the front matter. All right, first up is the front matter. Think of these pages as the formal entryway to your research. They set up your entire work, they establish your professionalism, and they make that all-important first impression on your reader.
Now, a lot of this stuff is pretty straightforward, I know, but it is absolutely essential. From the title page, which is like your front door, all the way to the table of contents, your map, each one of these pieces plays a key role in creating a polished and totally professional document.
Okay, let's get to the real heart of the matter, the main text. This is where your core research, your analysis, and all your writing really lives. And for this, we have this beautifully logical structure to follow, and it's known as IMRAD. IMRAD. It kind of sounds like a secret code, doesn't it? But it's just a super simple acronym for the four essential chapters: introduction, methods, results, and discussion. This structure, this is the engine that is going to drive your thesis forward, presenting your research logically and persuasively. Think of your introduction as your big pitch. It's your chance to grab the reader's attention, state your research question, and argue for why it matters. Here's a pro tip. Your introduction should also work like a roadmap, briefly outlining what each chapter is going to cover. And this is also where your literature review comes in, showing how your work fits into the bigger academic conversation.
Next up, the methods section. This is all about the how, right? How did you actually do your research? You need to describe your process with enough detail that another researcher could, at least in theory, replicate your study. Transparency here is absolutely key for your credibility.
And then we get to the results. Now, the number one rule here, and this is a big one, is objectivity. In this section, you are only presenting your findings, the data, the evidence, without any of your own interpretation. Just let the facts speak for themselves. Don't worry, your chance to explain what it all means is coming up right next. And that's where the discussion comes in. This is your chance to answer the big so what question. What do your results actually mean? A really great discussion doesn't just summarize. It connects your findings all the way back to the questions you asked in the introduction. What are the implications? How does your work contribute to the field? This is where you connect all the dots and make your final compelling argument. Okay, once you've done all the heavy lifting in the main text, you are officially on the home stretch. Now it's time to organize the final sections in the back matter. This part is really all about proper documentation and giving some helpful context.
The two big things you'll find back here are the bibliography and the appendices, and you really got to know the difference between them. The bibliography is where you give credit to every single source you used. This is fundamental to academic integrity. The appendices, on the other hand, are for your own extra stuff, like raw data or survey questions that are important but would just clutter up the main text. So, you've written everything.
The structure is there. You're feeling good. But you're not quite done yet. Before you hit that submit button, it's time for the final, crucial inspection to make sure every single detail is perfect.
And please, don't just give it a quick once-over. You have to be systematic about this. Try reading it out loud to catch awkward phrasing. Check every single formatting requirement from your institution, and for real, proofread it multiple times and then have someone else proofread it too. Tiny errors can really undermine the credibility of all your amazing work.
So at the end of the day, you have to remember that a thesis isn't just some long paper you have to write to graduate. It's a statement. It's the culmination of all your work, a showcase of your intellectual journey, and it's your first major contribution to your field. And by following a clear structure like this one, you free yourself up to focus on what really, truly matters, your ideas.